everybody to another episode of Rooted tonight. And tonight, our special guest is one of our longtime deacons, Mr. Darrell Johnson. Darrell, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us and just to open up a little bit to us.
Thank you, Ethan. I appreciate it, and it's a privilege.
Yes, sir.
To do anything we can for the church. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We hope all you guys are just getting some good out of this, getting to know a lot of our members a lot better, some of our deacons, our staff. We hope all of you are getting some good information from it. But Darrell, we're going to go ahead and start with you tonight. And if you could, like I said, you're one of our deacons, and you've been a deacon for a long time. Can you just tell us how long you've attended Nazareth and how long you've been a deacon?
Well, I usually tell everybody I'm 65. I'll be 66 in November the 30th. So you could take November the 30th and add 9 months to it, and that's how long I've actually been around. And I mean, pretty much active. And when we first got married, we hit a little spell there that we weren't very active and very dedicated to the church for a few years, but God was good to us and brought us back where we needed to be and got everything straightened out. So pretty much, basically just my whole entire life.
Yes, sir.
I have my great-grandfather was here, and I don't even actually know if they called it deacons then. But then both sets of my grandparents on both sides of my family was here. And my granddad Johnson was a deacon. Of course, my dad was a deacon. And I don't mean I'm nothing special, but I mean I was brought up in the right way.
Yes, sir.
So it's we've got a lot of, and these other families as well as ours has got a lot of heritage in this place. And so it's been here a pretty good while.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Darrell, and like you said, you've been here a long time, and I know you can probably think back on many, many fond memories from your time here, but maybe just one that you'd like to share with all of us that you'd like for everybody to know about.
Well, it is. It's out of that many years, it's hard to, I got thinking about the question, and gosh, it just kept rolling. And things. There's so many people that's been so instrumental in my life, and a lot of them has done gone on, of course, to be with the Lord. But and a lot of those memories, of course, comes from those people, in this place. And,
yes, sir.
And we've seen a lot of changes and things, and gosh, I don't know. It's when I try to pull out just one, it's just I've seen my whole family baptized, and of course that is the big one there. And then, like I say, I've just seen so much other stuff that it's just hard to draw on one. We got married in the old white church, and of course, I know you've done heard stories of it burnt, and we made a little jokes about that, about the insurance and all that. That was nothing to do with it, but we did. So we've been around that part of it, and that's good memories. And but we've seen a lot of things happen and move on. And I think a lot of times when I was a kid, we would, if you got in the old white church, they were 2 gas heaters in the back, and in each wing there was a gas heater. And I can still hear those old things. They make a spewing racket, when we use them. I can still hear those old heaters. And then, of course, the only air conditioning we had when we did get air conditioning was 2 big window units in the back.
Oh, man.
So that's where most of our church, why they want to sit in the back.
Yeah.
But, that, again, it's just so hard to pull out one thing. And because we've seen a lot. And I can remember even back years ago, some of Danny Ashley's kinfolks, Harrison Ashley was a pastor here, and we was talking about this the other day at decoration, that he would, I could remember him getting excited in the old white church, and he was kind of like me. He was a little bit more bald-headed than I am. And he would get wound up, and he had a saying that he used quite often, is, I'd rather live on the side of the mountain in a cave and drink stump water and eat persimmons and let the devil get me down. And I can remember so many times hearing him say that, and when he would say it, he'd take off running across the stage and jump. And a lot of times I've seen him pick up, and I think he smoked Winston cigarettes.
Yes.
And they would come out of his pocket while he was in flight. He'd just pick them up, stick them back in, never miss a beat.
Yes.
And I think about things like that, that was, of course, some of them are a little humorous, but they're funny. But in the baptistry that we use was Tomlin's Pond, and anybody from probably my age on up that's still here, that's where they were baptized at.
Yes.
Tomlin's Pond. So, it was. There's a lot of good stuff that's happened.
Yeah, it's kind of like Jason said last week. It's just such a church full of great people and great memories, and have had great people in it. It's been a very blessed church by the Lord. So,
Absolutely.
But Darrell, can you just share with us maybe just how the gospel has impacted your life?
Yeah, I thought about that a lot, and today, or sometimes during the day, and the gospel, a lot of people think the gospel only affects a saved person, but it really don't. And that may be kind of a little silly something to say, but the gospel, it affects every human being. But the two choices is to accept or not to accept the gospel.
Amen.
And of course, the ones that don't accept the gospel, they missed a very great opportunity.
Yes.
And for us, when I look back at the gospel, I just think that there's probably not a better place in the world to hear the gospel than right here in this church, in this community, the way we grew up especially. I can't tell you a time when I would look back and say, I come to somebody, asked, I want to know who Jesus is. I knew Jesus. I thought he was part of the family. As a kid growing up, we heard it all of our life, and of course we had Bible school and all that we grew up in. And in my family, where I was so blessed that the gospel affected there was the kind of parents I was raised by. That so many people didn't get that opportunity, and I was so blessed in that. And and I look at these other folks in our church like the Ashleys, Macon and Doris Ashley. And then when I go to naming them, I'll forget them or leave somebody out. But Calvin and Rachel Clifton, Clarence and Marcel Mitchell. And I can just go on and on, the Tomlins. But what it is, I've seen the gospel lived out in those folks' lives. So, when you think about that, that's the gospel, of course, it impacted my life as about a 9-year-old boy. One Sunday night at home is when I accepted the Lord. And we had I think it's right after a Bible school or a revival, I can't remember, but a lot of the boys, and when I say a lot, there's 3 or 4 of us maybe, had went up, and one of them told us, I'm going to go up. And I don't know if somebody had been talking to him. He was just going to go up to get it out of the way, And I said, I'm not going. I said, I'm not going. And I didn't feel like I needed to.
Yes.
But that Sunday night when I got home, I could tell something wasn't right. And at that time, I had never actually understood what it was for the power of a saving God to be a hold of. And of course, that was when I accepted the Lord. And like I say, I ain't always been perfect and a long way from it. And did get away some, when we was late teenagers, early married life. But like I say, God's grace and mercy was good, and we got back.
It sure is. It sure is.
It's impacted me by when I just go to thinking about all the folks that live the gospel out. I didn't have to ask them, was they saved?
Yeah.
You knew right off what kind of folks they were, what they did, and how they worked. And then again, it goes back to I believe the foundation and rooting of this church. That's where it is. I can see in my life, in that 65 years of however long I can remember, of that going on forever.
Yes.
So it has been an awesome place.
Yes.
And I think too, me and my wife has talked a good deal about it. Is what if we'd been in New York City? And I don't know where I'd be. Possibly dead and possibly already in torment. You don't never know.
Yes, sir.
And that's why I say that of all the places in the whole world to be built, to be born and to be raised, is right here in this community.
Yes, sir.
And especially
yes,
in this
sir.
church.
It's a huge blessing.
It is.
A huge blessing.
Tremendous.
Well, Darrell, just over these many years, and like we've heard from everybody else we've interviewed, there's been some pretty funny stories over the years here at this church. And it's like Jason said last week, we've just had deacons that love to cut up and people that do have a sense of humor, you know, and I'm a big believer in that too, you know, just bringing joy to people. And what's just one story, one of your funniest stories that you may have from your time at Nazareth?
Well, again, that's difficult to choose one.
Yep.
You know, I think one that kind of stands out, and maybe a couple, that we used to have our Sunday school parties, and I taught a class here of young people for about 18 years, and young marrieds. And we used to have them, and our class got to be pretty big, and we would try to fit all of them into our living room, and finally we outgrew it. And other Sunday school classes was experiencing the same thing. So Roger Graham was a pastor here, and we began to have just a Sunday night, a Christmas party on a Sunday night usually. And it was just for everybody. And they wouldn't have many classes doing them separately.
Yeah.
So, and we got to doing little skits and cutting up, and as you said, a lot of us is pretty mischievous. And Roger had been to a nursing home, and he had talked and sung to those folks, and when he was finishing up, he was doing some singing, and he said, does anybody have a request? And he said, I'll try to sing it. Well, I think it was an older lady, said, yeah, I've got one, said, I'd like to hear He Stopped Loving Her Today. Well, that's a George Jones country song.
Yeah.
Well, he told that, I think, maybe in the pulpit, and we all got tickled and laughed. And when we started having those parties, we would have a little skit. Of course,
Yeah.
somehow or another, I come up with the idea of doing that. I went to Walmart, got a little cassette of George Jones, that He Stopped Loving Her Today, or She Stopped, whichever way it goes, I don't even remember now. But I got that thing, and I would listen to it going to work, coming home from work at night. George Jones, besides his voice, he couldn't have beat me at singing it. I had it down first hand, and that hat I'm talking about. Well, we did that little skit. Of course, Roger didn't know, and Ginger didn't know what was going on till it started. And then we was all dressed up and stuff, and well, everybody in the building was just rolling. It was tickled. And it was funny. Carol Reed, she got to screaming like they do at those concerts and stuff. Her and Ginger, they was cutting up, and it kind of got me thrown off. I thought, good Lord. But anyway, when it was over, we had a lot of laughs, and it was a lot of fun. And Darrell Owens' mama, Miss Hazel, I love her to death. She was a great person, and I'm not picking on her, but she was sitting at a table with, I don't remember who, but I think it was a couple more maybe withered women.
Yes.
And boy, she was just as sincere, and she hadn't caught on to the whole thing. And she looked over, and I want to think it was Doris Ashley, and she said, Lord, I didn't know Darrell could sing like this. That's been a kind of a big joke from the older members.
Yes.
I know that I watched Gerald's interview, and he talked about the little festivals, the Harvest Festival we call it. We don't want to say Halloween party. That I believe it was Kevin Willoughby, and it could have been Joey, but I'm almost certain it was Kevin. I didn't get to see it. I just heard the other ones run in the building laughing so hard about it. They had been doing some hay rides. Probably Dennis was carrying them around, and they'd hung an old dummy up, and that was before all this building was here.
Yeah.
They hung an old dummy up in a tree, and he'd pull that trailer under it, and it would flop around, And everybody just kind of got used to made a little joke. So when everything was over, we was cleaning up, and in the meantime of all that, Gerald, and probably Danny, if I had to guess, had went out there, took the dummy down, and Gerald had some repelling-like stuff or a safety harness. He put that on, and they had him just hanging up like the old dummy was,
Yeah.
And they said, hey, somebody needs to go cut that dummy down. And I'm almost positive it was Kevin. He said, I'll go get it. So they got him up in the back of this truck, and he reached up to cut the rope on that dummy. And when he did, old Gerald just reached around him and we thought we was going to carry him to the emergency room. It scared him to death. A lot of little things like that we did. And I don't know, they just gosh, I could write a small book.
Yes.
Or probably a big book on probably things.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Darrell, I want to thank you so much again for taking time out of your day to do this. It really does mean a lot to me, and I know it does to everybody watching. It really does. And I want to encourage you guys, hey, thank Darrell anytime you see him. He really does. He does a lot for our church, a lot more than people realize behind the scenes and that nobody ever knows about that goes on, and all of our deacons do. That's why they take care of things that we don't ever have to hear about as church members. So I just thank y'all so much, and thank you, Darrell, for everything you do for this church. It really means a lot to me.
Well, I appreciate it, and our church, maybe during this time, we've not got to thank all of our guys like you, Robert, Jason, and Josh, and I know there's a lot of other stuff goes in behind it. Jonathan Andrews and Bob and all those that with the sound and things.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's kind of funny when I can remember people asking Daddy, you know, they'd say, Mr. Johnson said, you seen a lot of things. You know, he used to say, I've seen us go from horse and buggy days to the moon. And, you know, we've seen a lot of things. And even when I was a lot younger man, and these other deacons, when Daddy was on the deacon board, they'd go to people like him in Macon to get a little wisdom,
Yes.
to see how to do it. But during this pandemic that we've been through, and we don't know how much truth we've been told in this mess or how much we haven't, I want to thank you guys for what y'all done to keep the church where it's going.
Thank you so much.
And that means a lot to us. And we didn't have nobody, and nobody has nobody during this time that we could go and say, hey, what do you do during a time like this? There's just, nobody's ever experienced it. So,
yes, sir.
but hopefully we're on the upper edge of it, so we thank
Yes,
you
sir.
guys for what you've
Yes,
done.
sir.
We
Well,
sure
thank you so much
glad
for
to have
that.
y'all.
Thank you so much. And we really do. We appreciate you, Darrell, and thank you so much for doing this
Thank you.
again. Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
And thank all you guys for watching. We hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good week.